Hello and welcome to another podcast. It is Unravel Week and I'm very, very busy, which is why I'm filming this a little bit earlier this week. But I have actually got some knitting done. Consider the fact that I've been on full out deadline knitting all week. I'm quite pleased with the amount of knitting I've got done. So we'll come on to that in a minute. And you can see the shelves behind me are empty. That's because it's Unravel this weekend. We're leaving on Thursday. Unravel is Friday, Saturday and Sunday in Farnham in Surrey. So if you're coming along, do pop down and see me in the cellar bar. I'll be in the same spot I was last year, which is a really good spot. I really like that. So at the moment I have packed all my yarn. As you can see behind me, I have packed most of my patterns. I need to just go through the list and see if I need to print any more. I printed loads yesterday, so I need to just count those and add them to my spreadsheet and then pack them. Then I need to count all my beads, my notions, my books. I think that's it, and pack those. And then we are all ready to go for Unravel. So it'll be my only show this year. I have made a decision not to do YarnAddict this year because I'm hoping by September that we will be in the middle of having this house on the market, maybe putting this house on the market, in the middle of moving. Who knows? But things are so uncertain this year that I've decided not to do YarnAddict because of the fact that at some point we'll be moving. I also at some point in the next couple of months have to clear everything out of this room so we can decorate it ready to move, because this room has not been touched probably since my daughter started like secondary school, and she's 30 now. Used to be her room. That's why the walls are lilac. I really like the lilac color, but we need to do the flooring in here, the walls, the window, everything's coming out of this room later this year, or in a couple of months' time. So that's why I've decided not to do YarnAddict this year, but I am popping up a few places to teach. So you will see me around, but not Unravel will be the last chance to see me at a show and buy my yarns this year. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. It feels really weird to be filming with empty shelves behind me. I'm not used to that, and I don't like it. I did wonder as I started, would I actually move some of my stash down. Can you see right up there's some of my stash, but I don't want to do that. That's another thing I need to do when I get back from Norway in March, is to go through all my stash and decide what to keep and what to de-stash, because everything's got to come out of this room, as I said, which is a lot. Okay, let's talk about what else is coming up quickly before we go on to what I've been knitting. 13th and 14th of March, I am at Black Sheep Wools in Warrington in Cheshire. I'm teaching my Flora beaded headband. I'll put a picture on the screen. It was here, but it's gone now. Oh no, it's here. My Flora beaded lace headband. So you'll learn beaded lace knitting, which is really good fun, and knit a small project while you're doing it. And then on the Saturday, I'm doing my brioche improvers workshop, which you will learn how to knit brioche patterns with like increases and decreases. Again, I had something here, but I don't know where it's gone. It's chaos in here at the moment because I'm in the middle of packing and printing patterns and all that kind of stuff, but I'll put a picture on the screen. Basically, brioche improvers, you'll learn how to do all the increases and decreases that creates all the pretty patterns in brioche. Brioche knitting is very similar to lace knitting in that way, in that it's the increases and decreases that create the pattern. Now, last time I looked, which is a week ago, I think there was 1 or 2 spaces left for each of those workshops, but I haven't checked this morning to see if they're sold out or not. So if you want to come, book it quickly. Then the following week, I'm off to London for the Stitch Festival. My first time at Stitch Festival. I'm teaching Filet, Crochet, Continental knitting, perfect button bands, knitted button bands, and 1-row buttonholes, Intarsia colorwork, seaming knitted fabric. That's it. 3 days. 19th, 20th and 21st, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. No, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Now, last week's video, I did a I'm doing a giveaway for a pair of tickets to Stitch Festival. So if you look at last week's podcast episode, I will link it below if I remember. But it would have been, hang on, let me just quickly take a look here. I'm going to draw that winner next week, and hopefully I'll record the podcast next week, next Tuesday, before I go to Norway. So I will try and remember to do it then. So it's a podcast called Slow Progress and False Starts, and it was on out last Friday, whatever date that was. I also did a video recently. Is crochet quicker than knitting? I actually tested it. I know people have their views on it, but I actually tested it. Am I quicker on knitting than crochet? That was Tuesday last week. And Tuesday this week, my video was when knitting celebs get it wrong. One particular knitting celeb in particular. So I did a video where I was talking about when knitting celebrities get promoted basically beyond their capabilities. It was specifically in relation to a video that Tom Daly put out on the Let's Get Knitting channel, which was the kind of follow-on from Game of Wool, but it seems to have turned into his personal kind of tutorial channel. It doesn't seem to be linked to Game of Wool anymore, I don't think. So I don't know who manages that channel, whether it's Tom Daly and his team or whether it's Game of Wool, I don't know. But he's done a bunch of tutorials this year, and he did tutorial at the end of January doing left-leaning decreases. And he managed to show 2 left-leaning decreases, and he managed to get them both wrong. He showed an SSK, and it was basically a very convoluted, confusing way of doing a knit 2 together through the back loop. And then he showed an SKPO, so slip on knit on past slip stitch over, and he did that slightly wrong. The only thing he got right in that video was a knit 2 together. So I did a video talking about when knitting celebs get it wrong and when they get promoted beyond their capabilities. I also have a very good video. I have 2 very good tutorials on left-leaning decreases. One of them was from 2 years ago and one was 4 years ago. So if I remember, I will link it below, but it was also linked in Tuesday's video. So do go and check that out as well. Okay. I think that's it. Just looking at my old phone here for dates and stuff, and it's nearly flat. So let's plug that in and get on to what I've been knitting. So far this year, I've had 4 design deadlines for magazines. Now, I haven't knitted all of them myself, but I've knitted 3 of them myself. One was knitted by one of my sample knitters. I think it's 4 deadlines, or is it 5? No, I think it's 4. And I got 1, I got 2, 3, got 3 more in March. This year has gotten off to such a busy start when it comes to designing for magazines, but I'm not complaining, because that's the thing with designing for magazines and that kind of thing, because I'm not in control of commissioning. So you just got to take the jobs when you can get them, because if you turn something down, you don't know when you're going to be offered a job again. That's the problem with being self-employed, really. You can't turn any work down. So yes, it's been a really busy year. I finished another sample for a magazine deadline. Deadline was actually today. My goal was to finish it by Sunday evening. I actually finished it on Saturday. It was a shawl, and on Friday evening, I decided that I just wanted to finish it. So I planned to do another repeat of the main pattern before I did the edging, but I wasn't sure that I had enough yarn. And also I was worried about time, because I knew we were going to be out for quite a bit on Sunday. So I thought, right, let's call it a day and start the edging. The edging was a side-based knitted on edging, and it was 145 repeats. Each repeat was 8 rows, but it went from like 6 to 9 stitches, so not a lot of stitches. But I timed myself on Saturday morning, and it took me 3 minutes to knit each repeat of the edging. Times 145 is 21,025 minutes. So how much is that in hours? So, well, that can't be right. So I could do 20. So if each repeat took me 3 minutes, then I could do 20 in an hour. So 145 divided by 20, 7 hours. 7 hours. Anyway, I did it all on Saturday, blocked it, wrote a pattern yesterday, posted it, all done. Such a relief, because I was really worried about getting it done in time. Once I finished that, I decided to try and finish my new headband. First, I went to, when I was in Norway for Christmas, first I went to a yarn shop where they sold the lang palettes, which I've seen previously in Norway, but I hadn't tried it yet. So I bought one of these colours because it's so pretty. I've since got a wholesale and I will actually have it for sale at Unravel this weekend. So this is colourway 46 and it's the colourway I held with the mohair. So that's mohair 21 from line, colour 46. So the same colour number as that. And I held those two together for this, which I talked about last week. So I'm not going to talk about it today, but isn't that stunning? The pattern will be available this weekend at Unravel, and then I'll probably release it online either next week or the week after. Last year I came back from Unravel and I only had one day at home. Then I went to Norway. This year I have 2 days, and I want to unpack as much as possible. Last year I think I managed to unpack everything that went on my website, but I didn't manage to sort out the samples and patterns and stuff. So I just put that in the spare bedroom at the moment because we have a leak in our bedroom. Basically, I think it's leaking somewhere around our chimney. And it's leaked into our bedroom, and we now actually have a hole in our bedroom ceiling, which I don't know if I talked about 2 weeks ago. I know I did talk about it, but I may have edited it out. So at the moment we can't use our bedroom. We're waiting for a guy to come and fix it. He was supposed to come end of last week or beginning of this week. He said he would definitely be here before we go away, to have a climb up and have a look at the chimney and try and work out where the leak is coming from, so he can give us a quote for fixing it. And then we're waiting for another guy to come out to do a quote for fixing the ceiling, but that might take a bit longer. But once we've got the leak fixed, we can block up the hole in the ceiling with some plastic and move back in there, at least for, until we wait for the guy to come and fix the hole in the ceiling. But at the moment we're sleeping in the spare bedroom, so we don't have the spare bedroom at the moment. So I can't use that to leave stuff while I go to Norway. So when I come back on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to have to unpack everything. I have a massage on Tuesday because I thought I'd need that after Unravel before I go to Norway. And I think it's at lunchtime, middle of the day. So I want to try and make sure all the work I need to do is done before I go for that. So I can just relax after that. Last year I only had 1 day and I managed to get most of my stuff packed away. This year I got 2 days, so I've got a bit more time this year. And then Wednesday I leave for Norway, so it's going to be really, really busy. So I may or may not have time to release this before I go, maybe the following week. And then Wednesday I'm traveling all day, and Thursday I know I'm taking my dad for a medical thing. So I don't have a lot of time next week, even when I get to Norway, so I may not release this online till the following week. We'll see how I get on. So that's those two colours together. And then this one, I actually held it together with a ball of cashmere, which I thought I had here, but I can't see it now. Oh yes, here it is. So that's those two held together. And then this one, I held that colour with that one. Can you see how different it looks? I mean, this is mohair, same as that, and the sequin yarn is the same, but the mohair is a different colour. I feel like in this one, I wouldn't immediately look at these two and think they're using the same sequin yarn, because I feel like in this one, it takes on more of the colour of the mohair. So I bought this in Norway last time. I didn't know what I was going to use it for. I just wanted to try it and see what it was like before I ordered it wholesale. Because ordering it wholesale, I have to buy a pack of 10, so I just want to make sure I liked it first. And then I went to another yarn shop in a town called Fredrikstad. It's in the old town in Fredrikstad. Can't remember what the yarn shop's called now, but it was in one of my videos from Norway over Christmas. This is Filkalana, which I've never tried before. I've seen it in yarn shops in Norway, but I've never bought it before. Filkalana Tilia, which is 70% kid mohair, 30% silk. Filkalana is Danish. I was wondering where it was from. It's Danish. I knew it was a European brand, but I wasn't sure where from. So I combined these two to make this headband. Now originally I actually cast on for a double knit headband, so using the double knitting technique, which is basically just slip on knit on. The problem is you need to do 2 rows to get 1 counted row, and it is very, very slow, and I wasn't happy with my edges. My edges were a bit messy and it was just very slow, and it grew very, very slowly. And by the time I left Norway, I'd probably done about that much. And by the time I got home, I'd done about that much. But after I got home, I just didn't touch it. And then a couple of weeks ago, I thought I need to get this finished before I go back to Norway again, because I'd like to wear it. And best chance is when I go to Norway again, because it's colder. It's not been that cold here lately. It's just been very, very wet. Cornwall had the wettest January on record. I'm sure they said in the news last night, that the local news, that in parts of Devon and Cornwall, it's rained every single day so far this year. It's just been so wet. There's so much flooding around. Ground is so saturated. We haven't had any flooding here, apart from the problem with our chimney. So it's just been very wet here lately, but not really that cold, I don't think. Anyway, getting distracted now. So back to this. So when I picked it up again, I did a couple of rows and I thought, oh, this is just so boring. So I ripped it out and I thought, do I just knit a stocking stitch tube? So it's still like double layered, because that's the thing with double knitting. It creates a double layered fabric where it looks like stocking stitch on both sides. So I thought, do I just do a stocking stitch tube? But I was also worried about how much of this I had. And even though I've got some wholesale since, that's for Unravel, and I didn't want to use it unless I don't sell it at Unravel. So I thought I want to try and stick to one of these. So I thought I'd just do a rib. And then I thought, oh, maybe I'll do brioche. Now, brioche is also slower than rib. And it also, you need to do 2 rows to get 1 counted row. Now, this is single color brioche. So you don't, those of you familiar with 2 color brioche, you know that you'll do 1 row in 1 color and then you'll do another row, the same row in the second color. So you're basically working each row twice. You don't do that with single color brioche, but you do a right side and a wrong side row. And that basically counts as 1 row. But you only do slip of the yarn over and brioche knit, so it's no purling at all. Anyway, I picked it up on Sunday, after I finished the shawl on Saturday night, and thought, right, let's see if I can finish it. I wasn't sure I'd have enough yarn, and I got very close to running out. So let's just try it on and see what it looks like. I'm not very good at doing head stuff. I'm not really like a hat person or anything, but I do like this kind of knotted effect here. I did consider, because I was worried about having enough yarn, I did consider just sewing the ends together or grafting them together. But then I tried it on when I cast off, and I thought, oh, I do have enough, because you use a few more extra rows to actually do this knotted thing here. Yes, I like it. It feels lovely and soft. I was a little bit worried about the sequin yarn, that you would feel the sequins and it would feel a bit rough, but all I can feel is the mohair and it feels very, very nice and soft. So I'm going to take that to Norway with me. It's supposed to be quite cold when I land, so I might need it when I'm waiting for my train at the airport. And normally when I go to Norway, I take this. I'm not going to put it on because it'll interfere with my microphone. This is my fairy tale brioche scarf, and it's a loop, so I can loop it around my neck twice, or I can just let it hang in a big loop. I usually take that one because it is quite small and it is Kiviot. I think it's one yarn is Kiviot and silk and one is Kiviot and something else. Merino maybe, but it's incredibly soft and it folds down really small. So normally I take this with me. Now I did knit a hat to try and match this, which I will also take with me in case it's cold and snowy. I can put that on if I go for a walk. But I'm also going to take this with me. And the question is, do I take this? It's not matching exactly purple, but at least it's, purple. Because it doesn't take up a lot of space. So last week I was talking about my sequin cashmere project. And I was saying that my original swatch, I swatched it in this colorway because I thought it'd be easier to actually count the stitches because it's lighter. Still difficult to count the stitches because of the sequins, they obscure the stitches a bit. And I used needle 3.5mm, calculated my tension, cast on, and I wasn't happy with it. It looked really loose compared to my swatch, and it just didn't look good. So I ripped it out, swatched again, and this time I swatched in this because I didn't have any more of the sequin yarn. So I swatched in the color I'm actually knitting with. This swatch, I was saying last week, also looked a bit looser. It actually looks looser than this, even though I went down a needle size. So 3.5mm, 3.25mm. I know it's only 1/4 millimeter, but it does make a difference. But that just looks still not that. Tension still looks loose. Anyway, I wet blocked this. I didn't stretch it a lot, but I did pin it out. And then last week I was saying that I was going to try and steam it because this swatch I only steamed it to smooth it out. So I steamed this and that definitely made it shrink up. I think it shrunk up by 1 centimeter. which was really interesting. When I actually steamed it, so I just held the steam iron close to it. I didn't touch it. The Palette's yarn is nylon polyester. So you've got to be a bit careful with that because it's a synthetic material, and I'm not great at blocking synthetic materials because I'm only mostly knit with natural fibers. So you've got to be careful and not touch it because I'm worried about melting the polyester or something. I don't know if it does that. Anyway, I mentioned my tension again, recalculated my project and cast on again. So I'm using this colour, Lang Pellets. Which colorway is that? That is colorway 47. And then the same colorway, Lang Cashmere, that's also 47, but obviously the color difference is quite big. Just like these two are the same color number, Cashmere and Mohair, but obviously they look quite different. I kind of wish I'd chosen to get this color in Mohair instead, but I think because Mohair tends to stick to a lot of my clothes, and I think Cashmere will be more user friendly for me. So I cast on again last week and I hadn't got very far. So let me just hold it up. So where this first marker is where my short row shaping ends. So by end of last week, like say Friday, Saturday, I didn't work on it Friday and Saturday, but by that point I got to like the end of the short row shaping, and then everything else I've done since Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, it's Tuesday today. So I've done quite a lot the last couple of days. I was slightly worried now that it's too narrow, but no, it'll be fine. It's quite stretchy, but I do have to make sure when I finish it, I don't block it too much and stretch it out. I don't know what I'll do yet. I'm hoping to finish it while I'm in Norway. So I've started the increases for the armholes now. I think I'm probably like halfway through the yoke. Not sure. Anyway, it's working top down from the back. So I've done a lot of knitting since Sunday. Bearing in mind, I finished this first on Sunday, so most of that knitting was done yesterday. So I'm hoping, I'd like to, before we go to unravel, finish the back and pick up the stitches for the front. I would love to get the front done to the bottom of the neck shaping. So once I finish the back to the underarm, I will then pick up stitches along the shoulders and work the front. I haven't decided yet, but to do a round neckline or V-neck. I think I might do a V-neck, in which case it'll take me longer. And I'd like to get to where I join it at the bottom of the neck, because that will make it easier, and then I can knit on it. I would like to, I mean, if I could finish before I get nowhere, that would be ideal, but that's not going to happen. So I would like to, if I can, get to the underarms, so that by the time I leave for Norway, I'm knitting in the round. I'm also slightly worried about whether I have enough of the Palette's yarn. The Palette's yarn only has something like 112 meters. And I bought a pack of 10. I could order more, but I've left it too late now and it won't get here before I go to Norway. For this shawl, I used 3 of the Palette's and 1 of the Mohair to knit this. So basically for each, the cashmere is 300 and something meters, the Palette's is 112, so for each ball of cashmere I need 3 Palette's. Just started the second ball, so this is mostly 1 ball. I've just started the second one a few rows ago. So this, yeah, a couple of rows ago. So this is mostly 1 Palette's. So I'm a bit worried about not having enough, and that's the thing with taking it to Norway. I could have tried to order more. I can get it wholesale in this country, so obviously I pay less for it. The problem is it comes on these cardboard things, so they take up more space. So if I've got to take, say, 8 of these, that's going to take up quite a lot of space in my backpack. So what I've decided to do is knit as much on it as I can before I leave for Norway, and then if I haven't got enough, I would like to do a cardigan. What I could do is actually do it as knit as much as I can in Norway, then bring it back and order more and finish it when I get home. Or I could order more of the Palette's in Norway because quite a few Norwegian shops stock it, so I could order it while I'm there. So I'm going to wait and see how much knitting I get done this week and next week. and how much more I think I'll need. And then if I only need like 2 or 3, I might just order it and get it shipped to my parents. And if it looks like I need more than that, then I'll probably order it wholesale and finish it when I get home. But we'll see. I have more deadlines when we get home, and I have workshops, so 2 teaching trips when we get home. So I would like to finish it in Norway, but I think I'm going to need more than just this project. No, I don't think this is going to be enough to last me. Now, I could take this, and then when I finish it, I could buy some yarn in Norway and start a small project. But as I said, I need to have a destash soon, so I would like to. I am considering taking another skein of yarn with me. I'm thinking about this one actually. This one I got from Belinda Harris-Reed at the Knitting Hotel, gave it to me last year. It is 80% linen, 20% silk. It's got sequins in it. I think she got this when she was in India last year. She got a bunch of it and brought home with her to sell. She's half Indian, so she goes to India quite regularly, and she has a lot of contacts there, I think. Love that colorway. I am thinking about doing this shawl again. So I was thinking, do I just pack that? Doesn't take up a lot of space if I just pack it like this. And then I was also thinking, what do I take to unravel with me this weekend? I'm going to take my cashmere sequin cardigan. I don't know how easy it's going to be to knit on that during the show. Last year I cast on for a pair of socks, and I cast on, I think, the evening before unravel started. So after we'd set up, we went out for a meal. I think I cast on then, and I finished it. I didn't knit a whole pair. I knitted one whole sock during the 3 days. I was trying to unpick and do the afterthought heel in the car on the way home on the Sunday evening, and that did not work well. This year I might actually take my neckline with me. I've just charged it up so that if I want to knit in the car on the way home, I can do. I can't have it on the whole time, but trying to pick up stitches for this heel in the car was a little bit dicey. So I haven't done any more on this since I talked about it 2 weeks ago, but I'm going to pick up this afternoon, weigh my yarn, work out how much more I can knit on this. I still have half the yarn left for the second sock, and then I think I'm going to try and finish the first sock before we leave for unravel, and then cast on for the second one so that I can use that as my show days knitting during the day, so that if it's quiet times in between busy times, I can just pick up this and knit. And then I probably also take my cashmere sequin one, so that like end of the day when it's really quiet, especially on the Sunday, it's always quiet in the afternoon, I can knit on that. But because I'm probably going to be at the stage where I'm doing increases and things, it's going to be, I have to do a bit more concentrating, unless I can get both the front and the back down to the underarm by the end of tomorrow. Or I guess end of Thursday, which I don't think is going to happen. So I probably take the cashmere sequin cardigan with me and knit on in the evenings at unravel and in the car on the way up, and then take this sock to knit on during the show and try and finish that pair of socks before I go to Norway. That's it, because I'm starting to ramble a bit now. I've shared all my knitting with you, got more done this week than I thought I would, consider the fact that until end of Saturday, all I did was I filmed Thursday last week, so Friday and Saturday. Thursday, Friday and Saturday, all I did was work on my deadline knitting. So any knitting I've achieved since then was on Sunday and Monday, because it's now Tuesday morning. So I got quite a lot of knitting done this week. I'm quite pleased with myself. Right, I better finish talking so I can start editing it and finish packing for Unravel. If you come into Unravel, stop by and see me this weekend. My online yarn shop is now closed until I get back from Norway sometime in the first week of March. There will be a podcast next week, and there will be a podcast while I'm in Norway, and there might be some yarn shopping videos and things like that while I'm in Norway, depending on how much my mum wants me to do. I know she's booking some appointments for me to take her to, so depending on how many appointments she books for me, and depending on the weather, I'm hoping to have a day in Oslo on my own where I can visit a few yarn shops. But it depends on the weather and how busy I am. So watch out for some videos from Norway the week after next. Right, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to enter the giveaway for 2 free tickets for Stitch Festival. Go on to last week's podcast and do that, and don't forget to check out Tuesday's videos. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.